So we're just about to get underway. My name's Ken Norton. I'm the Residential Business Development Manager here at EGi, so good afternoon to everybody. Please do send any questions to us during the course of the presentation using the live chat function on the screen, and I will be answering some of those questions at the end. So let's begin. Okay, so areas that we're going to cover today. First of all, we're going to have a look at EGi's available data. So we're going to have a look at sites which are pre-planning. So these are going to cover brownfield, greenfield sites, etc., and more opportunistic sites. Then we're going to cover potential off-market opportunities. So looking at sites that have been in the planning pipeline that we've been tracking for a number of years. We're also going to look at the development pipeline in a few areas of London. We're then going to look at pricing. We're going to run some reports, and then we're going to have a look at the London residential market analysis, then our news and blogs, and finally your questions. So if I could just ask everybody just to mute their phones, just so I can hear a bit of background just from a few people. So if that would be great, if you could do that, that would be fantastic. Thanks. So what we're going to do now, so let's begin with the navigation to property data. We all know this is the news homepage, so I'm just going to go up here to property data, and we're going to start looking at some sites. Okay, so using the drop-down arrow here, we're going to go down to availability. I'm going to click availability, and in this we're going to put in Greater London as an example. Now you could use different areas of London, postcodes, etc., but for this example we're just going to have a look at Greater London, and I'm going to click Other, and then Update Results. Now what this has brought back, and it's literally just taken a couple of seconds to do this, we've got 365 sites there. Scrolling down, the first page of the results is outlined in the map. And then we have all these sites down here. Now we can see that there are site areas, light industrial, motor car showrooms, land, churches, schools. So these are nightclubs, motor car showrooms, etc. So these are the more opportunistic sites, and these are pre-planning. So we'll have a look at the first one. Click one at random. So when you click through, you're going to get a report like this. So this is for a greenfield site, 125 million. You've got the contact details who you need to speak to and the time that it's been on the market. So interestingly, this one has been on the market for over a year. So this is the kind of information that you'll get with an availability search. Conscious that most people won't have used this search before, in that it's predominantly for the commercial side, but the sites are all here under Other. So just by doing that search, we've got 365 sites there in London. Now, if you wanted to go into each and every one, you could do, just like I've done here on this one down. Alternatively, you've got some report functions for word schedule or view selected. So what we're going to do is I'm going to click word schedule, and then the report comes out like so. So this is a full availability report for all those 365 sites outlined like so. So you've literally got pages and pages of sites there available at your fingertips, and you can see how easy it was to run that search. Okay? So this is one of the tools that we've got to look for sites, and like I said, these are predominantly pre-planning. So I'm going to close that one down. You could refine this search by going in by size, asking price as well, freehold, etc., if you wanted to. So that really sums up availability. Really easy to use search. If you're looking for potential residential sites, it's availability and it's Other, and just click search. But coming out of availability, I'm now going to scroll down to London residential research. Okay. So on this search term here, we're going to first of all have a look at some easy to navigate tools. So I'm going to use changes in the last year, so 1 and year, and then scroll down here, local authority, and we'll pick Islington as an example and click search. Now what this will bring back is a 12-month development pipeline of sites with planning applications pending, sites under construction, and then sites that are currently on the market as well. So 164 live developments that we have there in Islington. So we can see here, down by the address, we've got the hyperlinks through to each and every one of them. We've got it broken down by private, social, office, hotel, and status then as well. So let's have a look at this one as an example. So scrolling down, We've been looking at this site for quite a while, it looks like. So this was a car park and offices, so it was a Royal Mail sorting office. We get the full breakdown of the site. Okay. Scrolling down, we can see who the developer and the planning agents are. We can see the breakdown for the amount of private units, the amount of social. And again, when you see this, this is all the history of this site. So we've been tracking this site for a number of years, since 1999.
Yeah.
There's a considerable amount of rich content there on that site. Okay? So that's just one example. I'll go back to the results now. Okay. We could go into each and every single one of them, but conscious that there's 164 development sites there. So let's refine that in a bit more detail. I'm going to go back to the search. Okay. We're going to leave it in Islington. I'm going to remove the one for the year, but what we're now going to have a look at is sites that have currently got planning applications pending, that have permission, that also have lapsed consent, and then sites then as well. And we'll click search. And what this is bringing back is a lot more sites and sites with planning applications and permissions. So in terms of contacting developers trying to acquire these sites, this would be the perfect time for us. Okay, so we've literally got a lot there. Okay, so 288 results. Again, a lot to go through, so let's refine that in a bit more detail. We're just going to have a look at these sites that have just been active within the last year. And there we go. So we've gone from 280 down to 8. Okay. So scrolling down, we'll have a look at an example. Looks like a petrol station. So this Texaco petrol station, cleared site. We've got all the contact details for the freeholder, the developers that are involved, architect, planning agents, etc. Planning, now this is where it gets interesting. So planning permission date was granted in 2011, application was 2010, but still no construction has taken place on this site. Now we know that because we go out there and we perform site visitations. So every residential development that has planning application granted, we actually go out there and actively site visit twice a year. We do that to monitor the construction and the development of that site. Now this site has been lying vacant for quite some time. So what I would suggest is this is quite a good lead in terms of no construction has taken place. And you can see all the research that we've done on this site going back a considerable amount of time there as well. So if this site was something that you'd be interested in, they had planning permission for 8 residential units and still no construction has taken place, it is then up to you to call these people and see if they want to sell that site, conscious that that site has been lying vacant for quite some time. Okay. So then going back to the results, okay. Could I just ask you, could everyone mute their phones again, because I'm still getting some feedback. That would be great. Cheers. Okay. So we've had a look at some sites and some ways to find sites. Again, it's always going to be looking through here to the planning status. Okay. Lapse consent is a really good one for looking at sites that usually indicates the developer hasn't been able to arrange the financing to get that development off the ground. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at some pricing so to get some comparables for those areas. So I'm going to click off application, lapse consent, permission, and site. And now we're going to have a look at completed and under construction. Click search. Okay, so a more manageable amount of sites, 29. So these sites have all either have released pricing or are currently the process of being sold. Again, we can click into each and every single one of them. I'll show you this one as an example. So we've been out at this site on quite a few occasions, just to give you an idea of how it used to look like. And then the finished article. So scrolling down, again, all the similar information that you've seen in the previous reports. We also get all the affordable information in relation to affordable housing, Section 106. Again, contact information for the developers, agents, etc. Now we start to see the pricing. Okay, so we can see that all the asking prices along here. Okay, so and then the unit averages. Okay, so for 2 beds, the average price per square foot in this development is 913. 3 beds, 979, etc. And then again, all the history that you would expect, all the research on that site. So that's handy going into an individual development and getting that information. What I want to show you next is how to populate that into a report. So if you're looking at a development or a potential site, what we're going to be able to show you using this information or this report function here, unit averages, is to get all the unit averages for that site. So I click unit averages, run reports, and then you'll have a pricing comparable report like so. So what you get is the address of the development, unit type, how many units are in there, minimum, maximum, average price, minimum, maximum, average size, and then again, the most important thing then is the average price per square foot. And it's then broken down by postcode. If you needed to do comparable report for pricing that's just been released in the last year, 6 months, etc., for postcodes and do reports N4 against N5, you'll be able to do that using this search function. A lot of our clients, if you're doing this for your own clients, you're always able to remove our logo and put your own logo on it and say that you're up all night producing this yourself, so quite a few people do that. So hopefully you'll find this pricing comparable report quite useful. Another report as well that a lot of our clients use is planning gain. So by clicking planning gain, the report that you'll get is here. So you get the name of the development or the name of the scheme, when it was launched, the stage of the construction, and also all the commuter payments and Section 106 information, and more importantly, the developer's contact details. So you can see here, development has been, permission has been granted very recently on this development here. The development is Cardinal Lindsay, and you've got all the Section 106 information there. So if you wanted to contact them, you've got a report then of quite a few developers to contact if you like the look of their sites. Okay. So within London Residential, we always tell our clients that the least amount of information you put in, the more you're going to get back out. So you can see that there's quite a few fields here to fill out. I would always keep it simple. Always keep it simple. Now, as well as this, what we can also do is track competitor activity. So where we see players and roles, what I'm going to do is I'll put, we'll go for Barrett, let's say. So let's have a look at Barrett's activity just over the last year. So what this will bring back, if you wanted to ascertain a developer's historic activity, all the sites that they've currently got planning applications on and what they've got currently under construction, we'll be able to provide that information just by monitoring that. Okay, so there's Barrett's current pipeline, sites that are currently under construction, sold, permission, under construction. So every developer over 5 units in London, we will be tracking to this effect. We also track in prime central areas of London developers from 1 unit and above as well, but really the threshold is inner London 5 units, and out here, Greater London, it's from 10 units and above. Okay. So just covering off London Residential then, what I'd like to now show you is our London Residential market analysis. So we released this report back in May, and this covers borough by borough pipeline activity. So the major players in the market, pricing, heat maps, and quite a few other interactive maps. The one I want to show you in this example is this one here. So this is on page 6 of this report. You will be emailed a link to download this report for yourselves, and you all have access to this now. So just by clicking through that link, this is a map of 3,000 potential development sites that we've been tracking for over 20 years in London. In that they've been in the planning pipeline, but no construction has ever taken place. So these are sites with lapsed planning consents. These are sites that have been withdrawn, refused, and still no construction has taken place on this. So you've literally got an interactive map of 3,000 potential sites there. It's worth noting that one of my clients using this map has already purchased £12 million worth of property as well. So it is a very, very useful document, and as subscribers, you all have access to it. It's essentially picking an area that you're interested in, clicking in, and then clicking through the link. That will take you through to a similar report like I showed you in terms of all the research history, contact details for the developer, etc. Okay. So moving on from there, just going to minimize this. Okay. What I'd now like to show you is our blogs. So our blogs get over 2,000 hits a week. These are really, really active. The residential blog is the pint of milk test here. So this gives you access to all the editorial content, that the rumour mill, and where we hear investment is going in. It's quite a useful blog, and you should definitely have a look at it. We've also recently released our student accommodation report, quite similar to the interactive map that I just showed you. That outlines potential development sites for student accommodation throughout the capital as well. Okay. So moving back to EGi, I just want to confirm that everybody is able to set up their weekly residential newsletter, and you can do that by going into My Accounts, scrolling down to where it says Save Searches and Alerts, and then putting in Run the Residential Newsletter, and then clicking on. Very simple. We're coming to the end of the webinar now. I'm just going to take some questions. We've had quite a good one regarding how do I track change of use from office to residential in London. So I'm going to go through that and show you that now. So property data, back to the property data tab, using the drop down here. Now we've really covered availability in London residential research. I can touch upon planning now. So this is a separate planning portal, but this tracks from commercial to residential. So we'll put in London into the city. We'll go by development type. So we're only interested in change of use. And then come down here to residential and then click search. So we track all change of use planning applications and permissions from commercial to residential above 15 units in the capital. And there you go. We've got 291 live ones currently at the moment. So this is a great way of going through the loophole of getting around the Section 106 payments that developers have to pay. We can go into that in a bit more detail if anybody wants to contact me that, and we will be releasing a report on that loophole quite soon. So hopefully that answers your question in terms of going into planning, putting in your area, and it doesn't have to be London, it's a nationwide search, going by development type, change of use, and then proposed use residential. Okay, I'm just going to take the last question now, conscious of time. This is asking me again to go through lapse consents in London residential research. Lapse consent is usually covering a development where the developer hasn't been able to arrange the financing to get the development off the ground, and hence the planning application has lapsed. So again, we could put in an area. We'll just go through London. Planning stages, we're just going to have a look at lapse consents. This one will be a very, very good one at sourcing off-market opportunities. Quite a few of the property finders that we have that have access to the system solely use this one. Good question. So local authorities, we're going to just have a look at all 33 and lapse consents, and then click search. Oops, beauty of a live demonstration. So we're just going to do lapse consent again and click search. So there we go. So we've got 735 planning applications with lapse consent there in the capital. So hopefully that demonstrates to you, Paul, how to use that system there. And again, you could select which ones you're interested in. Alternatively, you could select all and put them into a report and then save that. And then you've got access to every single site like that. So we're coming to the end of the demonstration now. I'd like to thank everybody for their time. The reports that I have showed you in terms of the London residential market analysis, we will be including the link for that, which demonstrates on page 6 the map of 3,000 potential sites. Again, my name's Ken Norton. I will be your account manager. So please feel free to contact me at any stage to arrange training. More than happy to go through this in a bit more detail should anybody require it. Alternatively, you will have my email address, so please feel free to contact me. So I'd like to thank everybody for their time. We've had some really good questions here that I will be answering outside of this demonstration. Have a great week and happy hunting. Thank you.
The leader has disconnected. The conference will be terminated in